Story title: Spirit Blade. The Invisible Hegemony. Genre: supernatural thriller/urban fantasy/sci-fi romance. Author name: Fardis Ahmed. Arnob. Chapter 1. The New Key. The key felt surprisingly heavy in Arnob's hand. It wasn't just the weight of the brass. It was the weight of the last 3 years. Ever since his parents passed away, life had been a blur of cramped rooms, heavy silences, and the suffocating feeling of overstaying his welcome at his aunt and uncle's place. He had tolerated the whispers, the pity, and the subtle hints that he was a burden. But Arnob wasn't the type to stay down. While the world saw a quiet student trying to pick up the pieces, he had been quietly building an empire. Stop staring at it like it's a magical artifact, man. Open the door. Arnob blinked, pulled out of his thoughts by the cheerful voice of Ryan, his best friend. Ryan was leaning against the pristine corridor wall, a cocky grin on his face and a stack of empty cardboard boxes balanced precariously in his arms. "Give me a second," Arnob said, a small smile breaking across his face. "Just taking it in." "Take it in inside where there's air conditioning," Ryan joked, nudging him forward. "I didn't spend 3 weeks scouting the best high-rise apartments in the city for you to stand in the hallway." Arnob laughed and turned the key. The lock clicked open with a satisfying, smooth sound. He pushed the door open, revealing a breathtaking, expansive flat. Floor-to-ceiling windows looked out over the sprawling city skyline. The floors were a polished, gleaming hardwood, and the space felt incredibly open. To anyone else, this was the apartment of a highly successful young professional who had miraculously struck it rich. But Arnob knew the truth. Every square inch of this place had been custom designed. The minimalist, ultra-luxury furniture scattering the living room carried the subtle, engraved emblem of Arnobic's Furniture, a subsidiary of his own secretly owned conglomerate, FAA Global Holding. To the public, Arnob was just a young guy taking on part-time jobs to pay his way through life. In reality, he sat at the top of a $1 trillion corporate ladder. "Wow," Ryan breathed, walking inside and dropping the boxes onto a sleek leather sofa. "Even though I helped you find it, seeing it fully furnished with the Arnobic's catalog. Man, you really have good taste. Or your designers do." "It's about blending in, Ryan," Arnob said softly, walking over to the window and looking down at the tiny cars below. "A billionaire who lives like a king draws attention. A young guy renting a nice flat because he landed a decent gig. That's invisible. And invisible is exactly what I need to be." Yeah, Mr. International Tycoon by day, ghost hunter by night," Ryan chuckled, tapping his own high-tech watch. "Speaking of which, the local agency group chat is buzzing. People are actually buying the rumor that you're just a rookie freelancer looking for part-time supernatural gigs. But let them think that. It's the easiest way to track down the historical artifacts people think are myths," Arnob said, his eyes darkening slightly. Deep within the hidden biometric vaults of his properties lay weapons and relics that mainstream history books claimed were lost forever. Things like the original sword of Alexander the Great and the long-lost crown of Cleopatra. He wasn't collecting them for vanity. He was collecting them because he knew what happened when ancient power fell into the wrong hands. "Well, tonight no hunting," Ryan said, walking toward the door. "Tonight you unpack. I'm going down to the delivery truck to grab the rest of the tech gear for your secret workshop. Don't fall asleep on me." "I won't. Thanks, Ryan. For everything." "Anytime, boss," Ryan waved, stepping out into the hallway and letting the heavy front door click shut. Silence filled the apartment. Arnob took a deep breath, enjoying the absolute stillness. He picked up a stray box of clothes and headed out toward the main hallway, intending to take them to the master bedroom. Suddenly, a violent, unnatural shudder rippled through the floorboards. Arnob froze. The air in the apartment instantly plummeted to freezing temperatures. The breath exhaled from his lips turned into a white mist. From the hallway outside, a strange low-frequency hum vibrated through the walls, a frequency Arnob recognized all too well from his years of supernatural research. It was the distinct energy signature of a high-tier manifestation. Not tonight, he thought, dropping the box. He rushed to the front door, pulling it open, intending to check on Ryan. The moment he stepped out onto the grand concrete staircase of the building's central atrium, a wave of intense, crushing vertigo hit him. The lights in the stairwell flickered violently and died, plunging the area into darkness, save for the pale moonlight filtering through the skylight high above. Arnob reeled backward, his vision spinning. The air felt thick, heavy, and completely devoid of oxygen. His foot caught the edge of the top step. Losing his balance, Arnob felt his body tilt over the edge. Below him was a sheer, dizzying drop down the center of the spiral staircase. In his disoriented state, his reflexes failed him. He was falling. He braced for the impact, his heart hammering against his ribs. But the impact never came. Mid-air, a sudden, blinding warmth enveloped him. It felt like being caught by a column of pure, localized energy, a force so dense and vibrant that it completely defied the laws of physics. The terrifying speed of his fall was instantly neutralized, brought to a gentle, floating halt just a few feet above the concrete landing below. Slowly, his feet touched the ground. The vertigo vanished as quickly as it had arrived. Arnob opened his eyes, gasping for breath, and looked up. Standing right in front of him was a girl. She looked to be around his age, with long, flowing dark hair that seemed to float slightly in the air, as if suspended in water. Her features were strikingly beautiful, yet she possessed an ethereal, translucent quality. The moonlight shone right through her pale, glowing skin. She was radiating an aura of absolute purity, a spiritual resonance so powerful that Arnob had never felt anything like it in all his years of tracking the paranormal. She was looking at him with wide, intelligent, and deeply relieved eyes. "Are you all right?" Her voice echoed, not through the air, but directly inside Arnob's mind. It was soft, melodic, and laced with genuine concern. Arnob stared at her, completely captivated. His mind, usually sharp and calculated, struggled to process what was happening. Ordinary spirits were remnants of grief, anger, or confusion, hollow echoes of the past. But this girl, she possessed a consciousness, a vivid spirit that felt more alive than most living people he met in his boardroom meetings. You caught me," Arnob managed to say, his voice barely a whisper. "How did you do that? Who are you?" The girl offered a small, melancholic smile, stepping back slightly. "You shouldn't be wandering out here when the shadows gather, Arnob." Arnob's eyes widened. "How do you know my name?" Before she could answer, a sudden, piercing sound shattered the silence of the stairwell. It wasn't a normal snake. It was a sound that grated against the soul, a cold, metallic hiss that echoed from the bottom of the dark stairwell. A foul, heavy stench of decay and black magic flooded the air. Arnob looked over the railing. Slithering up the stairs with impossible speed were 3 massive, shadowy serpents, their eyes glowing with an oily purple flame. These weren't creatures of nature. They were constructs of dark sorcery. The girl's ethereal face instantly drained of what little color it had. A look of sheer, unadulterated terror crossed her eyes. She trembled violently, her form flickering like a dying light bulb. "No, he found me," she whispered, her telepathic voice laced with panic. "The charmer. His hounds are here." "Wait," Arnob yelled, reaching out toward her. But the mere sight of the shadow serpents was enough to break her manifestation. With a soft, echoing sigh, her form dissolved into a shower of faint, glowing silver particles, vanishing into thin air just as the first serpent lunged over the top step, its jaws wide open. Arnob's survival instincts instantly kicked into overdrive. The awe was gone, replaced by the cold, calculating mind of a hunter. He dodged the snake's strike, rolling across the concrete floor, his mind racing. He didn't have his gear. He didn't have his team. He was entirely unprotected. Need a weapon, Arnob thought grimly, his eyes locking onto the dark stairs as the serpents circled him, cutting off his escape back to his flat. And I need to find out who that girl was. What do you think is going to happen in the next chapter?